Hey y'all, welcome back to Zekism. Daredevil Born Again, episode 4 of season 2 has dropped, and wow, what an episode! What an ending! It's wow, what a crazy ride we may be in for the remaining 4 episodes. But we'll get right into my thoughts, I guess, on the episode. I really loved it. Really great episode. I dare say maybe the best episode of Born Again, either in season 1 or season 2. But I'm mulling on that, but I think I'm pretty confident saying, yeah, it's probably my favourite. And again, like all things, Bullseye makes everything better, which is the moral to take from this. So we'll get into the story, and again, I'm probably going to go into spoilers. I think I'm just going to carte blanche say I'm going to spoil the episode now, but I urge anyone who hasn't watched it or is not watching the season to go back, watch the first 3 episodes, which are okay. 1 and 3 I think are good. 2's a bit slower. Like I said, my thoughts on the series so far, sorry, I'm dovetailing now. My thoughts on the series so far are, episode 1 felt like a reintroduction to fans who maybe hadn't watched Born Again season 1, and I still maintain that belief. But I think episodes 1 and 2 specifically were setting the stage, if you like, for the remaining season, and I think they were important in hindsight, more so than we thought at the time, to set the stage for the drama that's now taking place and is gonna take place towards the end of the series. So that's my thoughts, and I'm enjoying the season, as you could probably tell, and especially episode 4. Episode 4 was a banger. We started with Bullseye, Benjamin Poindexter, and his morning routine, I guess, which involved a lot of clicking, a lot of flexible stretching, especially in his wrist action, which is key to Bullseye, his power set. He makes himself a fried egg, but that fried egg goes towards the next door neighbour's cat. He then heads down to a diner, and we've seen this clip, I think, in a lot of the trailers and a lot of the adverts, where I think they released the scene itself, I think yesterday or the day before, to try and advertise the show, I think, where he basically calls in Frank Castle's in this diner. The task force show up, and he mullers them from start to finish with lots of kitchen utensils. There was a meat thermometer at one point, a lobster claw, and he just takes out all the anti-vigilante task force members. He finds time to have a little quip with the man who brought his dog into a restaurant, which I'm fully behind him. Don't bring your dogs to restaurants unless you've got a disability of some description. You know, this is me judging. Don't bring animals to restaurants. Don't be silly. We then pivot, and he leaves a Bullseye symbol and ketchup on the diner. So in his belief, he's doing good by taking out these task force members. He has a long-standing feud with Fisk for various reasons. 1 for breaking his back, but 2 for Vanessa hiring him to kill Foggy. And it seems like he's trying to repent in his own twisted way. I'm still unsure about his motivations so far, but I'm sure they'll be clarified before the end of the season. We then pivot to Kingpin. Kingpin arrives at Red Hook to go through the debris, go through the mess that was the escape from Red Hook in the end of episode 3. Also check out the sunken Northern Star now in the Hudson River. And yeah, basically Mr. Charles is there. They have a tete-a-tete, if you like, Buck alongside Kingpin to sort of shield him from Mr. Charles's goons. One full swoop and Mr. Charles's goons are taken out. And the power dynamic switches. We get Mr. Charles pressing the buttons of Kingpin, which, if you skip to the end of the episode, is going to be interesting to see how he plays that one going forward, and whether he'll be as antagonistic and probing as he has been so far. Matthew Lillard's character this is. We then, I think, go to find the ship's vice captain, who has located Matt Murdock, Daredevil specifically, and the Resistance. I don't know if they've got an official name, but the Resistance people that are hiding out in a penthouse or an apartment building in New York. He's then able to give his testimony to Kirsten, which I think happens in later on in the episode. But for the purposes of the story, that's why he turns up, and They enlist Ava, the niece of White Tiger, who's now in possession of the amulet, to deliver an SD card to BB, and I think she hires one of her scatty schoolmates to go and do it, who he does later on in the episode, in a scene where it looked like Daniel saw the transaction take place, but he really subtly sort of glossed it over and then sort of, made a joke, and then they move on. But I think he knows BB is involved in the resistance, but he's keeping his cards close to his chest, wisely so he can sort of pick the path that best benefits him later on in the series. It's interesting. It's really intriguing to see where they end up with him, whether he's going to not only last the season, but what side he ends up on towards the end of the season. Because if Fisk does go, or if Fisk becomes even more extreme, he's got a side to jump to, and he's got plausible deniability to a certain extent, because he hasn't done any of the crimes. He's just been aware of them. But at the same time, he's clearly aware of what BB's doing. He knows she took the footage from his laptop, and he knows probably that she's behind the viral videos of Big Head Kingpin that are going on the internet. So that's the BB and Daniel stuff. We've got the ship's captain, who unfortunately cops it towards the end of the episode. There's a scene where Kingpin, who is preparing for his boxing match, which we'll see at the end of the episode, Buck tells Kingpin he's not going to leave his side, because it emerges that the boxing match is a lure for Bullseye, and so he wants Vanessa nowhere near it for that reason. But also he wants a trap laid for Bullseye, essentially. And so Buck, who receives a call at that time to notify him, spoiler, that the ship's captain is somewhere, that he can go and take out one of the outstanding no deniable traces or witnesses to the Northern Star issue. But so Buck does, he leaves the fight to go do that, so he's nowhere near the fight at the end. We also have Vanessa Fisk, who's involved, we mentioned earlier. She's cozying up to the governor. The governor seems more comfortable speaking to her than Fisk. I mean, she's outright says it. She goes, "I trust you. I don't necessarily trust your husband, but if you're a package deal, then I'm on board." Obviously, towards the end of the episode, we know that may not be the case going forward. So after that, we have I think we've got the Kingpin boxing match, which is brutal to say the least. This poor guy. He's a big guy, but Fisk destroys him from start to finish with only one shot as a result of a distraction with Vanessa entering in the white dress that we've seen from the Netflix series, and the color of white synonymous with their relationship. She goes front row, sits down, distracts Kingpin for a second for him to give him a big sucker punch to the face. Meanwhile, this is going on. We've had Daredevil dressed as a vigilante task force member, seeking out the crime scene that Bullseye left at the diner. Locates Bullseye because he left a trace marker of a church coin. So he goes to the church, speaks to the priest. The priest was terrified of being put in the room with Bullseye for a certain period of time. So he knows that Bullseye finds his apartment, has a fight with Bullseye. Bullseye manages to get away and head towards the boxing match. And this is where we see the showdown after Kingpin inevitably wins, and is holding the belt aloft that he's won for being amazing at boxing. We have Bullseye enter the fray, take out task force members in plain clothes as much as in, I don't know how he knows the plain clothes one from the non, but he does. And he completely takes out every task force member and then turns his attention to Wilson Fisk, starts going for him. We then have Daredevil with his billy club stop Kingpin killing Bullseye. As a result, Bullseye has thrown an ornament with Kingpin, one of Kingpin's tatty merch, but not so tatty. It's made of crystal, I think, crystal glass, so it's a quality merch item, but launches it at Kingpin, more so Vanessa Fisk. Kingpin swats it away with his belt. Unfortunately, in the fray, a shard of that crystal ends up in her skull, in the side of her head, and blood is pouring out all over the place. Meanwhile, Daredevil gets Bullseye out of there, smashes through the Fogwell gym window, which obviously is synonymous. The Kingpin deliberately had the boxing match at Fogwell's gym, which is synonymous with Daredevil, if you know the history of the series. And so yes, we've probably, not confirmed, but we've probably seen the death of Vanessa Fisk. And the crazy thing is, what does this lead to? One, it's very exciting because we're going to see. Where do we go now going forward? Well, the Resistance are going to carry on doing what the Resistance is going to do. They did get the testimony of the ship's vice captain. However, that vice captain is now deceased as a result of Buck. We've got a now unhinged Kingpin, who Vanessa was always his Lady Macbeth, his sort of voice on the shoulder, tempering his temper, calming him down to a certain extent. And now I think we're going to get season 1 of the Netflix show Kingpin. We're going to get unhinged Awesome Fisk. What does that mean? What does that lead to? I don't know, but it is very intriguing going forward. I think we're going to lose a few more characters before the end of the season, is my gut. We haven't seen Jessica Jones yet. I know she's probably due for the next episode because that would tie in nicely with the task force plot. But yeah, I think we're in for a rough ride. I think going in a good way, a rough ride going into the remainder of the season. But yeah, it's really fascinating. You can probably tell by my voice that I'm not been too well over the last week, so apologies for the quality of the sound, although my voice isn't necessarily great in the usual capacity in most weeks anyway. But for the purposes of this, apologies. Thank you for anyone who's plotted through it. Appreciate the support. So yeah, episode 4 was a banger. Looking forward to episode 5 next week. I think Jessica Jones is going to enter the fray, would be my thought. What this means for Awesome Fisk, I don't know, but keen to see how this ends up. And yeah, I think everything's going to blow up by the end of the season, but we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please leave a like or subscribe on the channel as well, and I'll speak to you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.